Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with jazz drummer Matt Slocum. He talked to Neon Jazz extensively about his new release called Sanctuary, and he is very excited about it. We actually interviewed him on the day of the release, May 31, 2019. He talked about this recording, the conceptualization of this recording, and actually releasing it and what he hopes the audience will get out of it. So please, have a listen and dig this insight into this brand new album by Matt.
So, Matt, thanks again for taking a minute out for Neon Jazz. It's been a few years, so it's great to rendezvous and catch up, and I always love these interviews when I can kind of follow up with new work and new projects.
Oh, thank you, Joe. It's my pleasure.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and dive in. Brand new album is Sanctuary, another fine release. Talk to me about the artistic vision for this project.
Most of my past recordings, I have kind of thought about the personnel for the project first, or what the instrumentation is going to be, and even the exact players. And then for this one, I kind of went a different route, and I just wanted to write a bunch of music without thinking about what instruments it was going to be played on, without thinking about what musicians were going to play on the project. I just wanted to have a bunch of tunes and write whatever I felt like writing without, any boundaries or anything like that. So I did that for maybe, a year and a half or so. Went through all those tunes, picked the ones that were less worse, and decided that it would be, with the vibe of the tunes, it would be nice for a piano trio. I've always wanted to play and record with Larry Grenadier, so it seemed like a nice opportunity to do that. And Gerald Clayton is, of course, one of my favorite pianists, and we went to college together, and he's on a bunch of my past recordings too.
Is going with this approach of not really thinking so much about who's going to be around you for this and going in because that's what you want your creative head to go with, is that a gamble? Is it refreshing? How does it feel to go in with that perspective?
Yeah, I think it was kind of both, because I always just I like the idea of composing specifically for certain musicians, like thinking of even like Duke Ellington or something like that, just these personalities. And then when you're writing, you try to work these little things into that. So, it was refreshing because I always do it the other way, so I just wanted to see, what I felt like writing, and the vibe of those tunes, and I just wanted to kind of let that flow without putting it in a box too early,
Absolutely. Sometimes with these kinds of interviews, it's a real crap toss whether or not I'm going to actually interview the day that it's released, and we happen to be talking May 31, the actual day this is released. What kind of butterflies, what kind of feelings do you get when you actually see an album, which takes a while to produce and to make and mix, to come to fruition, and you actually see the day?
For me, today is cool. We're trying to work out the iTunes, Apple Music issue. I guess it's up everywhere else. But I guess this is the first one I've done on vinyl, and there's a really good audiophile vinyl pressing of this. The thing that was really cool for me is when those showed up maybe a month ago or something, a big pallet, 750 pounds of vinyl records. So that for me was kind of the moment where it was like, okay, this is real. We did it. And then today is cool too because it, I don't know. Yeah, it feels like completion, and it was nice to get this one out in a reasonable amount of time, maybe, 9 months from recording to release, because sometimes they're so long in between that it's just like, even now I feel like I'm on to the next thing, so it feels good to have it documented and have it be official. Yeah. As far as like butterflies, I don't know. It's kind of already done. That's more like, for me, like more when you're going to go into the studio and just, hope that everything's cool and that musically, yeah, everything's cool.
As a music consumer, I think about how I consume music, and I love Apple Music. I love the way that it works, but I also love vinyl too, and I thought about, every time there's a new technology, the music industry responds, and they want to try to make sure that they keep up with things. But I think about the fact that the irony of the music industry is that there's a level of technology reversion I think is saving things. Not only does vinyl sound good, but it seems like it's saving the music industry. What was your take on actually releasing this on vinyl?
I still enjoy listening on CDs, but I don't even really find myself buying CDs that much lately, and I'm a complete jazz geek, so it's just, I enjoyed the vinyl listening experience, and I think we're going in that direction. And it's like you said, this kind of yin and yang with this whole streaming situation, which, I'm as guilty of as anyone, but it's just, it's a different thing, and the audio quality is rough, and you can do lossless files and stuff too, and that's cool. But I dig vinyl, and it's an experience. I like the warmth, and I like that it kind of pulls you in and actually forces you to do active listening, which is something like I think there's less happening of. It's more like music is just on in the car or wherever. We're just streaming all the time. So I think vinyl's cool in that sense too.
So getting back to Sanctuary, I just want to know from you personally, those that get either this on vinyl or digital and consume it and reconsume it, what do you want the listener to get from this experience?
Whatever they want to, I'm putting it out there, and what I have to say right now, and I think it's an accurate reflection of documentation of where we're at right now. And sometimes the studio can be such an unnatural environment for jazz, but it felt really comfortable. So I hope that comes across, just that there was a certain ease in playing together, and it wasn't forced or unnatural. So I hope that's clear. But other than that, I don't really want to put any preconceptions on the listener.
Right on. Matt, hey, thank you for reaching out. Thank you for being a part of Neon Jazz again. Good luck with Sanctuary. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks so much, Joe.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest drummers and players in Kansas City, New York City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Matt for his time, his cool, and opening up about this brand new project. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino on the iTunes Store. Visit Neon Jazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.